I get so nervous before I press record. I tried recording this as a short, but making it into a short was really annoying. I tried to fit so many things under 60 seconds and it just started sounding really rushed. So I'm like, I'll just make it a full-length video. I'm just talking about, let's see, how do I phrase it? The top resources that I wish I knew about when I first started playing Flesh and Blood, because there are some things that I learned later on that really would have helped me if I knew them from day one. Like, I feel like I wasted a lot of time, not in a bad way, but with one of them. I think with the third one on this list, you're gonna see what I mean. Like, I really wasted so much time. First one is Felt Table. Felt Table is the best beginner resource in my opinion. It's very low stakes. You're playing against a bot and you can kind of practice. When I first started playing, my first character was Azalea and I had a really hard time getting the reload mechanic down. Like, my friend and I both went to our first armory together. Clear blank slate. We had no idea what we were doing. It was our first day. We'd never played this game before ever. She was playing Arachne, I was playing Azalea, and I was trying to watch what she was doing to learn from her, but those mechanics don't apply to me. I don't have stealth. I can't attack with my weapons just on their own. Like, me trying to learn from other people and how they play doesn't help me because each character is so individual. They all have their own unique abilities. You can go on there, practice your decks. The AI is not very smart. Sometimes they just kill themselves. Sometimes you'll be sending over a big attack and instead of blocking it out, they're like, no blocks, I die. Take me out, Piglet. What you say? I wanted to show an example of this and it kind of worked out really well. I was playing Victor and I wanted to get some gameplay footage to show you how Felt Table worked. And at the very end of this match, it looks like Levia had the option to turn off their blood debt. They had the option to banish a card to turn off blood debt and they didn't do it. They had one card left in hand and it looks like the last card they had would have been the card they needed to turn off the blood debt, but they didn't do it. The AI just chose not to banish this card for some reason. And when they didn't banish their card, they had to deal with blood debt and they died. If the AI had banished that card, they would have been alive. So I'm not sure if I'm reading that right because I don't play Levia, so I'm not sure if maybe they couldn't banish it, but from what I'm seeing, they had a way to banish it and they just didn't, and they just died. Where in real life that would never happen. In real life, they're gonna block it out with everything they've got to stay alive. But it's great for beginners because it's just getting a feel for how the cards should work together. And the blitz packs that are on Felt Table are the same ones you get in real life. So you could buy a blitz pack and practice in real life and use those same cards on Felt Table, which is sick. The next one is obviously Fabrary. That is the main thing that everyone uses in this community. Fabrary is mostly for decks. If I have built an Azalea deck in real life, I'm gonna pick all the cards that I have and put them on Fabrary. That way I can show other people. I can play against people with that deck online. I can print it out and have a physical copy of all the cards I have, which comes in handy for bigger events. Some events you have to have a physical copy of all the cards you're bringing. Road to National is a good example. They're bring your deck list, write down all the cards you're bringing. You can either write it all out by hand or you can use a site like Fabrary where it makes a PDF where you can print out all the cards. So I barely scratched the surface, which is a travesty. So I'm coming back in to tell you more. On the homepage, you see all this community content, which is really sick. What other players have recorded to share to the community. Here, you can kind of choose the character that you're playing. I'm playing Azalea, so I'll click her. All the cards are listed here. So you can kind of pick oh, I'm using this, I'm using that one, I'm using that one, I'm using this. And it's really convenient. It's really fast. Oh my god, my Victor deck is all over the place right now. But this site has so many cool features. There's so many cool things you can do with it. Beyond just having a deck and being able to organize your cards digitally, it keeps track of so many different things. Under the stats section, it shows, oh my god, look at this, how many blues, how many reds, how many yellows you have, how strong is your deck, how much pitch does it have. The average cost of my cards is 4. How many blues? Do I have enough blues to pay for those 4s? I don't know. If I were to play this deck against another deck, I can calculate how many times I would win my clashes, which is super cool and like they just like built that recently. Flesh and Blood in general is a very like numbers heavy math game. It doesn't have to be. Like when I play, I don't really focus on the math too much. I'm more just playing because I like the cards. If you want to get really into it and like learn your numbers and learn your percentages, like this does all of it for you. So okay, this is gonna suck, but it also shows you how many wins and losses you have if you play this deck like online. It shows you like, oh, this is embarrassing. It shows you how many times you've won. I've like never won, but that's okay. Your most commonly used cards to block, to play. Like I play a lot of pummels apparently. I block with this a lot. I play this a lot. I pitch that a lot, you know. Oh my god, it's so humbling. I haven't looked at this before. So KO kills me a lot. Riptide kills me. I kind of like, I'm doing okay with Riptide. I've won a few there. I beat a Vincent one, apparently. That's nice. I've gotten bodied by Kasai, Dory, KO, Levia, Lexi. You can do this thing where you draw 4 cards randomly. So if I were going to play to fight right here, right now, the first 4 cards I draw are right here. So I can kind of plan like, okay, if I drew these 4 cards, what would I do? Oh, this is the thing I meant to say earlier. You can put your whole collection in here. Like you can say like, do I have Mandible Claw? I have 2 of them. I've got 2 Mandible Claws right now, and then it updates for you so you can keep track of what cards you have at like in your house. I've got 1 Knucklehead. I think I've got 1 Senpacking. I don't think I have this. No, I have 1 of those too actually. I should be playing Brute is what I'm hearing. You can kind of go through and keep track of the cards you have. Yeah, I didn't know that you could build your collection on Fabrary, like just in real time. I didn't know that. So I spent so much time building a whole like Google sheet with all the cards I wanted. It's embarrassing. Also, like I made this back in January. I made a whole thing like, okay, is it in my box or is it in my binder? I made a whole like little like system for it. It's so adorable. It's so cute. What set is Battering Bolt coming from? Like, is it priority? Yes, these are priority cards. You can see the cards I was looking for at the time when I was first going for Azalea. I don't think I even need Tri-Shot. I don't know what I was thinking with that one, but Tri-Shot is not like, that's not it, babe. What were you thinking? I mean, I guess would Tri-Shot even be good? But you can kind of see that I was trying to replicate, like this is already native to this. I didn't know that. So I found like I found a whole database that I like imported, but I did not have to do all of this. This was not necessary at all when I could have just done it here in Fabrary. So that's me wasting time, like a long time to make this. And then I didn't even use it. Like once I started getting more in the game, like I didn't even use it because I just use Fabrary for everything. Like all my cards and stuff were just right here. Like I don't really need that, you know? That list and apply to Talishar, which is the next one on the list. Talishar is like a staple in the community. I kept hearing the word Talishar, 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 and there's a weapon in the game called Talishar, which is what the website is named after. So I was like, why is everyone talking about this weird generic weapon? Why is this weapon so important? When people say Talishar, they normally mean the website Talishar. That is where you go to play other players. I should probably say that none of these things that I'm talking about are they're not like officially ran by LSS. It's all fan made. Felt Table is also all fan made. Fabrary also fan made. When I get off at 1 in the morning, I can come home and hop on Talishar and play a few games, which I wouldn't be able to do in real life. At night, if you want to hop on and get some practice in, or if you're like between classes, or if you're kind of just wanting to get practice in pretty fast, you can get on Talishar. You will die. Just transparency. If you're new and you go hopping on Talishar thinking you're gonna do something, you're not gonna do because they're gonna kill you fast and they're gonna just like beat you up, especially if you're using like the default deck, like the blitz decks I talked about earlier. Most of those cards they give you, they're like not helpful for that deck. Like people buy those decks and then take out half the cards because half those cards are not good cards. All cards are great, but some cards are better than others in certain circumstances, and that's an example. The cards that you get in a blitz pack are normally not the cards you're going to end up using long term. If I go on Talishar with my basic blitz pack and I go against someone who's got the whole armor, they've got all these majestic cards, I'm gonna die in like 2 turns. My cards just aren't built for that level of competitiveness. But even saying that, it's still really cool to just kind of go in there and get practice, and you can play stuff with your friend. You can be like, hey, I'm hopping on Talishar, who wants to hop on with me? And y'all can get on and play together. TCGPlayer is my enemy and is worthy of my fists. Tell me why my camera just like died on me when I started saying that. I had a whole rant about TCGPlayer and none of it came out. So I think that's a sign that I should be kinder to them or that I should totally eviscerate them. They are an aggregate of like lots of independent stores. So if you've been playing a lot and you want to upgrade your decks and buy new cards and your local game store doesn't have the cards you want, and you go to TCGPlayer to check if they have the cards you want, and then you order it and they mail it to you. You've seen me open packs here on some of my shorts. They send you stuff, you pay for it, it gets here, it's great. When it works, I have the terrible luck of it never working for me. A place where you can buy cards online. If you've played other TCGs, this is probably like not new to you, but this was new to me that you can just go and order cards and have them show up. That's sick. Don't get me wrong, it's a great service and I think everyone should know about it. And I didn't know about it until like month 2, but I just have really bad luck. I don't know what the issue is. Every time I go to the chat box, it doesn't answer my question. I keep getting this issue where I buy the cards and then 5 minutes later they're like, oh, we're sorry, we don't know what happened, here's your money back, bye. And it's so unhelpful. Like they'll just cancel my order and give me my money back and don't explain why they canceled my order. They don't tell me why are you doing this to me, give me my Azalea cards, gosh. Okay, aside from that one specific issue that literally no one else on the planet has but me, I've asked people like, yo, do y'all have this issue? And they're like, what the are you talking about? Like, this is a very me issue, but with every other issue, apparently they're super good. Somebody that I talked to said that they, like, their card never arrived. Like, they ordered a card, it like never showed up. And when they told the website, they got their money back right away. TCGPlayer is a great resource for beginners because you can find a lot of cards for really cheap and you can find the more expensive cards too, but I would recommend starting off with the smaller, cheaper cards to kind of give your deck some boost. The FaB counter apps, when you're playing the game and you're losing life, normally what I would do is I would take a little spin down dice and I would set that up on my top of my card. So whenever I got hit or whenever I would take damage, I would just move the dice lower. I still do that sometimes, but I recently downloaded the Flesh and Blood counter app, which is cool. I like that a lot actually because you can pick your character on the screen. Like I can say that I'm playing Dory and you're playing Reinar, and I can put that on the app itself so it shows you who your characters are as you're losing life. It's a really common app. I like it a lot. And you just like set that aside, like as you're playing, you kind of just like take down your life total as you're playing, like, or raise it up if you're like using Sigil of Solace. See, I know my cards now. I know my stuff. But no, that's a really cool tool, and it's free, which I like. MetalFaBTokens is another really cool website. They have a lot of like tokens. Everyone that I know has this thing. It's like a big resource counter. So a big mechanic of this game, as we know, or maybe we don't know because we're new, hi, welcome, is that you pitch a card to play an action, right? And if the thing costs 1 and the card I pitched costs 3, that means I've got 3 resources floating. Sometimes I forget because there's so much stuff happening on the board. You can be like, how many resources do I have? Did I use that one already? Did I forget that one? Because, you know, things are moving pretty fast, especially in Blitz game. What I normally do is like I put a dice on top of my pitch deck and then I will like add up or add down according to how many resources I have. But they have these things that are like physical representations of the resources. So you can say, you know, I've pitched like 3 card, I've got 2 floating, and I can show you that I have to have 2 floating with this giant like metallic like emblem that shows you. I think it's awesome. A lot of my friends use those and they look really cool. They also have little tokens for things like overpower and dominate and go again and stuff like that. Mechanics that are on the cards and are in the game, but again, you can kind of forget, like, does that have dominate? And I'm not saying people are just forgetting all the time, like it's not like that, but it's also really cool to kind of physically see that has dominate. Like you can kind of see what the effect of the card is. The last one is FABREC. That is probably the best one for any player, beginner or otherwise. I think most experienced players like to build their decks their own way. As a new player, I like seeing how other people are doing it to get an idea of what I should do. FABREC, I didn't know about this site until very recently, and I kind of wish I had known about, like, I really wish I had learned this like day one. My camera died again here, so we're just gonna have to like wrap it up. What I was saying is that on FABREC, you can see what everyone else is using. You can see the most popular equipment, the most popular like actions and attack actions and all that kind of stuff. So it's really good for new players when you're trying to figure out what to put in my deck. Like what do I even start with? Like what do I put in this deck, right? And it's good for experienced players too. Like if you're going to a competition and you want to make the best deck possible, it might help to look at other people's decks to see, you know, what are other people running, what's been working for them. Most people, when they get to that more competitive level, they look at deck tech videos, which is another resource that I guess I can throw in here while I'm at it. Deck tech videos are people who have really worked on their decks and they kind of fine tune them, and they kind of share their secrets. You know, they share their techniques and their opinions on how to make the best Rhinar deck or the best Bolton deck. And I think FABREC is like a version of that, I guess. I think it's like a version of a deck tech, because it's not one person telling you how they built their deck. It's like 1,000 people telling you how they built their deck, and it's like an aggregate of all those people's decks. And you know, you just get to see what's most popular and how most people construct their decks, and that can be a really good resource. I've been using it a lot lately. I've been using it a lot for my Victor deck because I wanted to see, you know, the blue ratio, what's a good ratio of blues to reds, for which blue card should I be using. So it's a really good resource just to kind of get an idea of what most people are using. It doesn't mean you have to follow it to a T. It doesn't mean you have to like listen to what people are saying, but it is good to have that resource if you want to, you know, get quick advice on, you know, your own decks. So that's the video. Again, I wish I had a better outro. My camera died and I'm like, okay, we're done. Also, this video, I recorded this before my last video came out, and like the response to that video has been so amazing. It's been so awesome. So thank you so much if you are here from that. So thank you again for like watching, and hopefully you stick around for the next video. Bye. Gosh.